What's up? Hello everyone. How you doing? Welcome to Wednesday stream. We got stuff to talk about tonight, guys. We got some good stuff. We got some announcements, some shenanigans, some goings on, some I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. Yes, it's winning. Sorry, I would just there's something that is. I've got a little side bet going on, and I'm slowly winning at something. It's great. It's wonderful. Sorry, I love Cat Rave. Cat Rave is just so good. But we're gonna listen to some Beachside Bliss tonight because Beachside Bliss is just good. Just good. But we're also gonna be using a scene that we don't use very often. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pixel Screen. How you doing? How you doing? What's up, Mello? How you doing? Welcome to Wednesday evenings. Guys, a lot has happened this week. Like a lot. Kind of crazy, actually. It's only the middle of the week. Feels like it should be Friday. And I've got so much more stuff to go. Like, to go do this week. I got a big meeting about stuff tomorrow. We have an update on Rayleech. We have a murder mystery event on Friday, which is gonna be awesome. That's being put on by Honey, so that's gonna be a ton of fun. It's starting a little late, so I'm gonna have to make sure I take like a nap before it begins, or else I'm gonna be tired. But otherwise, like, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. But how y'all doing? How's this lovely Wednesday evening doing for you all? Feels weird skipping Tuesday now. I feel like because I skipped yesterday, today's just feels so much longer. But I was so dead yesterday. I do not regret like skipping out on stream, because I mean, we're doing another stream on Friday, right? You know, I don't think I have anything too bad to feel about those shenanigans. Yo, what's up, G-Mari? How you doing? Welcome on in. But tonight, I thought we would just chill. We're gonna do a bit of yapping. We're gonna be talking about some RPG stories, some D&D stories, some Pathfinder stories. This comes from both ends of the table. Some of these are gonna be where I was the GM, and some of these are gonna be where I was the player. I'm just gonna be lurking like always. Hey, no problem there. Let's rock. I can't hate. Here, wait to hear what stories everyone's got. They'll be good. I actually don't think, like, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think I have too many like actual horror stories. I have had a lot of good groups over my many years of playing. So I'm very thankful for that. I'm very happy that I have not had too many psychotic players and or GMs. But I've had some weird experiences that I don't know, they're just kind of mulling around in my brain. I wanted to talk about them. I also wanted to talk about some of the fun comments I've been getting on some of the shorts recently. They're pretty good. I do really like. Oh man, guys, some of the comments have just been absolutely fantastic. I can't wait. But let's see. Let's start off with an easy one, right? So there was one where I was a player in this one, and I've alluded to this GM before, and it's, again, this is not really a horror story. It's just kind of funny to me, but it was a horror story caused by the players, I would say. So I have a GM friend of mine who really does not like casters. And keep in mind, the system we're playing in is Pathfinder currently. or at least it was during this time. So we were playing Pathfinder, and one of the fun things about Pathfinder is the sheer volume of magic spells and or items that can kind of just say no to a lot of types of encounters. Like, there's a lot of magic. And we had one player who really likes playing a control mage. Like, that's probably his favorite type of class to play. He wants to be the wizard, the battlefield controller. You know, the one that's casting pit, the one that is, you know, entangling foes, or, you know, otherwise just telling enemies no. And he'd been doing this so often and finding so many random rules checks for a lot of monsters that I don't think we'd had like an honest to God fight in probably 2 to 3 sessions, because he just, oh, it's a boss that's weak, that has like a weak reflex save. I guess we're gonna icy prism it. Oh, it's another dude that has a really terrible constitution save. He cast something that would disable him that way. Like, every fight, he was just, you know, he rolled really high on the knowledge checks. He could just disable every fight we came across, until finally the GM kind of got sick of it. I just threw this super powerful enemy at us that just ran over us. Like, all of its resistances were way too high. Its attack damage was way too high. Just everything about this creature was so out of our weight class. And it's because the GM just felt like he couldn't throw anything at us that this wizard couldn't take care of. It was so funny. It's why that particular GM just does not like playing in high magic scenarios. I think actually his favorite method of play was E6, which is the maximum level of a character is 6, and every time you would level, you instead just get new feats. Which, that's an interesting way to play. I've tried it once. Not sure how I feel about it. Welcome on in, Empress. How you doing? But you know, it's a way of playing. It's a way of playing. So yeah, this that particular story was caused by a wizard that just pushed the DM's buttons a few too many times. Because, you know, I think it's actually super interesting. I think there's a lot of levels of GMs and people who want to run and or play Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, or just, you know, role-playing games in general. Because I am probably what I would consider an intermediate to hardcore DM, where I want to custom build most things that you're going to interact with in the world. You know, whether that's the actual world itself, the characters, the systems. I like having my hand in all of the, like, I just like touching everything. I like making sure that all the systems kind of work together. So I like customizing it a lot. But I think there's a lot of GMs, especially those that are newer, that just want to run a pretty standard cookie cutter adventure, and game modules like Curse of Strahd or any of the myriad of Pathfinder modules that exist now are perfect for people who don't really have a passion for GMing, but they still want to play with their group, and so they're the de facto GM. I would call them like the beginner to intermediate GMs, because, you know, they probably do put in quite a bit of effort to make sure that the game runs well, but at the end of the day, they just want to play a game and hang out with friends, and so modules and stuff are perfect for them. But you know what modules and stuff aren't perfect at all for? Is for players who love to outthink them. Like, a pre-written adventure can almost always be broken by a intelligent player, especially when magic is involved, because there is so much magic that exists these days and so many different spells. It's almost impossible to account for everything. And The funny thing about that is players, I feel like, have a lot more time to dissect puzzles than a GM will be able to. Hold that thought. I needed water. Oh, I needed water so bad. But I think that players have a very unique... I think a GM is trying to design a puzzle for everybody. A player is looking for any solution to that puzzle through their character. And so I think ultimately at the end of the day, most players will know their characters better than a GM just looking at their sheet will, because, you know, they've been playing with them this whole time. They've been using the abilities. It's not to say that a DM won't have passing familiarity with any of that stuff, but in general, I think the players tend to know their character better than the GM. So all of their options are clearly visible to them. I've yet to meet a GM who has memorized what his players' characters have memorized in terms of spells and abilities. It just doesn't happen. Or if it does, I haven't done it, and I haven't met anyone else who can do it yet. But a GM is trying to build a puzzle for everyone, and any player might have like a random, just super easy solution to it that the GM forgot about. And I think I feel like combat is that puzzle a lot. Yo, what's up, Vice? How you doing? I actually do think that combat is a puzzle for the most part. Like, sometimes the solution is simple, just beat the monster until it goes down. But other times for bosses or special mechanics, I think that, you know, figuring out what they're weak to, what they can't, like if they have low reach, if you can kite them, all these other abilities to like help deal with a monster makes it kind of a puzzle. But I feel like, especially in high level mage games, a lot of the times in combat, a spell can very easily be the solution to any given problem, which is like kind of the cool thing about magic, right? Like that's almost the point, is that magic can just solve all of these really cool and unique problems, which is awesome until it solves all of the cool and unique problems. It's so fascinating. Because I don't know how many of the stream viewers watch the shorts or not, but I've been putting out a lot of shorts where I've kind of been ranting about some of the stuff that I don't really like about high level gameplay in RPGs. And one of them is magic. I feel like magic is such a hard thing to really grasp just how much of an effect it has on everything it touches. And so whether it's like, oh, teleportation solves this plot about, you know, needing to deliver supplies to refugees right this second, right? Can't a DM nerf magic in their games? Well, yeah, a DM can nerf magic. The problem is, I feel like the line for nerfing abilities to make them fit a world is a very hard one to find, because sometimes it's really easy to say, oh, okay, well, in order for this situation to work, this magic can't exist, therefore that magic is gone. But you do that too often or on too much of a broad concept, and it becomes a really big problem for the entire game. Like we had a group. Oh, here's another fun story. I had a DM that just did not like the concept of create food and water. He thinks that it just broke everything about every system ever. And so he removed it. It wasn't there anymore. It was gone. And that didn't necessarily cause a whole lot of problems for our group. But for the couple of us that actually kind of liked doing you know, some survival stuff and having a fallback of being able to magically create our own food, even if it wasn't great, it was like kind of a bummer that that stuff didn't exist. Or like, we also like to use create water in a lot of weird and unique ways of like, oh, well, we need to pry this door open. Let's soak it in water and then freeze the water to force it to expand to like shatter the door. You're not like, that has no written rules for how to do that. That's not in any handbook, but it's a cool idea. And by banning create water, you can't do that anymore. Or another fun use of it that we had is we needed to transport a lot of stuff down a mountain. So what we did is we sat someone on a sled, and the person in front was casting create water just constantly to create this deluge of water that was going down the mountain. And then we had two other people sitting next to him casting a ray of frost to freeze the water so that we could sled down the hill. Like, that's a really fun and interesting use that is removed by banning a spell. So it's not something that I like to do very often. I feel like you should only ban things that are really, really problematic. And even then, you know, talk with the players and explain why things are getting banned. And, you know, maybe they come back with an alternate solution. I very rarely feel like straight up banning is the answer, unless like, never ban out of frustration, I guess. Only ban if it really does break your game, or if there's a theme that you want to explore. I think a good example of this is, I like banning resurrection magic in my games, or not necessarily banning it, but making it a lot more difficult to resurrect someone. I like deaths to have meaning, and resurrection, especially in Pathfinder, was so hilariously easy that once you crossed, like, I think it was like level 7 or level 8, you could just do it whenever you wanted. Like, it actually wasn't even hard. It was just, oh, the party has to sacrifice a little bit of money, and boom, you're back up on your feet. And now some people like that. That's fine. I'm not going to tell you how to run your specific games, but I liked it when death was a little bit more impactful. Or if the party really wanted to get someone resurrected, it became this new side quest that they needed to venture out on to bring them back. And it also gave players who were maybe not having as much fun with their characters like an out when they died. Thankfully, I never really had problems with people like trying to get themselves off just to roll new characters, because I could definitely see that being a problem, you know, of that particular strategy. But I don't know, just something interesting to think about. Let's see. Let's go into another horror story. So this one was one. It was a horror story in 2 parts. I felt bad because I created a situation, but I also feel like the GM created a situation, and I think it was a double horror story, which is why it's funny. So we had a rules dispute at the table. I was playing a sort of summoner type of a thing, and I, rules as written, thought that I could summon something and that I could just instinctively control it, because it didn't really have phrasing or stuff to say that it didn't work the way that I thought it would, right? And so the GM let me summon it, but then immediately made me lose control of the summon, and it ended up killing me and another character who they really liked their character and were really annoyed with me that they died, right? So that was kind of a horror story in the sense of, I was trying to do something and the GM wasn't really telling me if it would or wouldn't work, which I kind of wish would happen a little bit more, but this particular GM just didn't talk about stuff like that, which was, it was a little annoying sometimes, but you know, that was also their style. So I can't, like, at the end of the day, I can't really blame them for that. But it's funny because it's the first and only real time I've had a big rules dispute that actually affected someone else. Normally, like, I'm kind of a rules lawyer. It's how I like to play. I'm not gonna lie. I like running things as written, because then if you learn all the rules, you can use them to your advantage. That's kind of my thought process. So when someone else is a little bit more loose with the rules, but doesn't really tell you they're more loose with the rules, it's kind of frustrating. And I like it can be frustrating both ways, right? Like if you're someone who enjoys freeform and the rest of the group likes to stick to the rules as if they were this rigid, immovable object, I could see how that's frustrating for you. But I'm on the other side of the fence, where if we're just getting all loosey-goosey with the rules, to me it almost feels like, what are we even doing here, right? But like, that's just because that's not my preferred method of playing. Now, if the rules are open to interpretation, that's awesome. Like, I will let the rules loosely interpret, but sometimes, you know, sometimes you want to know what's going on, right? Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. I'm trying to think if there were any truly bad story. Oh, actually, I do have one. So I was a player in this, and were any of my friends GMing this game? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think any of my friends were actually involved on either side of this, but we were playing a game with a guy, and for whatever reason, he just wanted to pick fights with everyone on, like, whether they were friend or foe. I don't know what was going on with him. I'm going to keep it so real, but he just wanted to pick a fight. If it could move, he wanted to fight it. And not for any, like, in-character reasons. He would just attack stuff. It was so weird. But we were playing, and it hadn't come up a whole lot. Like, he really wasn't trying. He wasn't like interacting with the party too much. He was just fighting things, which is whatever. But then I decided to roll a druid, because I never, like, one of my characters had died. I decided to roll a druid. I'd never rolled a druid before. I thought it would be fun, but apparently it set this guy off because he doesn't like, you know, the nature-loving druids who might not want to just fight everything. Maybe they want to try and solve things a little bit more diplomatically and stuff like that. But so this is what happened. Literally, my character is introduced. I join the group. This guy starts just wailing on a tree because he's bored. I'm like, hey. So, like, in character, my guy's like, is there a reason why you're attacking the tree? Like, do we need firewood? If not, can you just leave it alone? Just, you know, I feel like it's just a casual druid of being like, hey, maybe you don't just destroy trees, right? Like, because you can. Like, he was even okay with, like, oh, well, we're chopping it down for firewood or stuff like that. Like, he wasn't even like, I didn't make this druid to be all, you know, nature must be preserved at all costs, like super annoying druid. Just like, and keep in mind, by the way, he had never described this character taking this action before. Just like, he saw that I was a druid and immediately just started chopping up plants for the fun of it. And I was like, bruh, what? So, you know, I thought that we would, you know, we role played it a little bit, and I was like, okay, so I cast Entangling Roots on him. I tie him up and just be like, buddy, can we just not do this? And, you know, he's like, all right, fine. I was just blowing off some steam, yada yada. Which, and like, I was content to leave it there, but then he just like starts a forest fire. What? Like, to teach the druid a lesson, and I'm like, what is your deal? Why do you hate druids so much? So the party ended up fighting him, which is funny because, like, he just started a forest fire because he didn't like the concept of a druid. That one just was weird to me. I don't actually understand the thought process behind that one. Like, huh? Am I crazy for that? Does anyone else think that that's normal? Here's someone who wants to be in touch with nature and preserve it and, you know, just be a chill guy. And so your response to that is to set a forest on fire? Like, huh? It was just so weird. It was so weird. Let's see. Oh, another story. I was a GM at this one. I was trying to, so this is back when I was trying to run some Pathfinder Society games. And for those of you who don't know what Pathfinder Society is, it's kind of like a pre-written, scheduled learn to play group that is kind of sanctioned by Paizo, which is the creators of Pathfinder, and it's essentially all the GMs are running set modules. They're very stickler about the rules. Like, you cannot just go and create these weird characters. You have to follow very strict rules. But you get, like, you get to keep track of your character. You upload it onto the internet. You can track things. You can get boons and stuff if you play a lot. You can play different characters every time. You can play the same character every time. You can do all sorts of shenanigans. It's a really interesting system, but its main gimmick is that you have to follow the rules exactly. And it even has a bunch of things spelled out for particular rules disputes. So the whole idea is that it's a very rules heavy environment, but like it's geared towards people learning is kind of its whole shtick. Also, you guys are gonna have to deal with my AC being on right now. Hopefully you don't hear it too much, but it is death in here right now. It's 100 degrees outside. Holy cow. But so like that's the setup for it. But I was kind of like a volunteer GM for it. I didn't really do it for too long. I only did it, I think I've done it like 7 or 8 times total. But you know, I was running a game, and the thing about those types of settings is they're built to allow new players to join at any time. It's supposed to be that they're just built for new players and new groups and people that don't know each other, because everyone kind of just accepts everyone's on the same page of rules as everyone else, and it just works. However, sometimes, actually a surprisingly lot of time, new players who have never even heard of this, or even if they have, will just try and join and do things that are just so far out of the rules that it's crazy. So this one particular guy, he joined, and you know, I checked over his character sheet. It looked pretty normal. Because again, we're doing things by the book, so I have to keep track of everyone's characters. I have to keep track of the decisions they made in these little modules. Like, there's a lot going on behind the scenes for Pathfinder Society GMing. And so we sat down, we started to do stuff. Immediately, this guy starts trying to like do stuff that is not in the rules, like not even close to being in the rules. I think in this particular example, he was playing a sorcerer who was trying to cast spells that weren't on his spell list, which I saw, right? Like, he showed me what was on a spell list. And I'm like, no, you can't cast that. You don't have that. Like, you don't know that spell. And, you know, he's like, you know, he just kind of growled at me and got upset. But then, like, he kept on trying to do all these other things where, like, he doesn't have a skill. He doesn't have ranks in a skill, but yet he has a +10. And I'm like, no, that's not how that works. You don't have this giant bow. Like, he was just lying about everything. And it got to the point, like, we were only, I think, an hour in, and I was just so frustrated with this guy that I had to kick him from the table and be like, buddy, like, we're on like your 5th warning. Like, please leave and stop doing this. Like, I felt bad. It's one of the few times I've ever like kicked someone out of the table, but they were just breaking so many rules, and it was not helpful to, because like we had a couple new people at the table, and this guy was just not playing with the group and just trying to do all the stuff that is not in the rules and not even like acceptable at tables, like cheating and stuff. It's just like, why are you here? I don't understand. Why are you here? This is it did not make any sense. And I wish I could say that that was like a one-time thing, but I've honestly had weirder experiences with Pathfinder Society than I have at any homebrew table. And I've seen a lot of weird stuff in homebrew tables. Like, a lot. But something about people being told that there is a strict rule set they need to follow makes them just lose it, and they are not happy about it. It's so weird. Hey, what's up, Kilo? How you doing? It's just, it's so weird. I've never understood it. Ironically, the couple of times that I've done D&D Adventure League has all been chill. Whether it's with new people or veterans. Whoops. Hi, Cap. It's been mostly chill. Oh, I just had a core memory unlock. So, speaking of just weird groups that I've been in, I remember the very first group I ever got in. Like the very first one that I ever played in, I was accepted into a group because my brother had played D&D with this guy's older brother. And so I was accepted into the group because I was not a noob role player. And I was like, I mean, like I was a noob. I hadn't done anything. It's just I had played, or I'd seen my brother play D&D, so therefore somehow I was not a noob. It was such a fascinating thing. But this group, first of all, there were 8 players, I think. Yeah, 8 players. We were in this guy's basement because again, this is in high school, right? And it was weird, man. They wanted me to play a bard, and so I played a bard. But like, I'm trying to remember the specifics of this game. I just know that it didn't follow like any rules, like almost at all. And it was oddly sexual, which was weird as a high schooler. I'm just like, okay, why are we doing this? It was weird. I did not go back for another session in that group. It was weird, man. The only thing about that session that I remember is for some reason I could summon an angel companion. And I'm like, what? Huh? Can bards do that? Like, is that in the rules? Like, what? And it was... The party was like, it was a weird atmosphere. I've never, like, I wish I could describe it better. Hey, what's up, Drill? How you doing? But like, being introduced to Dungeons and Dragons, or at least to that group, with that kind of a weird, like, power tripping fantasy vibe, was weird. I would think that ability would make sense for a bard. That's cool. Yeah, but Mela, keep in mind the previous sentence that it was oddly sexual. I want you to keep that in mind about a bard summoning an angel and why that would be weird. Like I said, it was a weird group. It was... I didn't go back after that. That was weird. 4K, exactly. Yeah. It's just weird. I don't know a better way to describe it. It was just weird. In any other setting, it's cool. Yeah, like the bard being able to summon stuff is actually, you know, it's cool. But I think summoning in general is cool. It's just that one particular setting. Another one I had was this I don't know if this is a horror story or just this was not the vibe I was ready for. There was another group that I joined where they just didn't want magic items in the game ever. And it's Pathfinder, which anyone who's played Pathfinder, the game is kind of built around having magic items. Like 1000%. And I'm also sitting here like, what do you mean no magic items exist? Isn't that half the fun of fantasy settings? Right? Like, what are you doing if there's no magic swords or anything? Like, maybe that's just me. Maybe I think half the fun of any role-playing game is like pursuing weird and cool magical stuff. Unless of course you're doing a tech game, but like I feel like even tech games have some level of magical shenanigans to it, whether it's, you know, you're playing Star Wars and you gotta go find a holocron, or you're playing Star Trek and you come across this weird alien race that has telepathy and some shenanigans, and they have really cool warp tech, or, you know, X, Y, and Z, right? But they played it super hardcore, and they like characters were dying like every fight. It was just kind of expected that you had multiple backup characters, and I'm not a fan of that playstyle. Like, I don't mind some high lethality, but if that's like the whole thing, nah, that ain't me. That's not for me. I like getting attached to my characters. I like having this overarching story of stuff, you know? It was weird. Let me think. Have there been any times where I've been the nightmare DM? Probably. Like, I gotta assume that I've done some pretty bad stuff at least once or twice. What were some... I've never really had players just quit on me, though. Oh, actually... Okay, so this was not a role-playing horror story, but the fact that it happened because we were playing a role-playing game is part of the horror story, and I think it's really funny. Not to the person it happened to, but to me it's funny. So we were trying to get a guy into playing RPGs, and he wanted to bring his buddy along, and I'm like, okay. At the time we had like 5 people. I am totally okay with bringing on an extra person when you're at that number. I think 6 is my limit. I can go up to 7 if I have to, but like 6 is my limit. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, he can come along. That's no problem. That's fine. But he gets to my apartment. You know, I give him the directions and stuff. He doesn't park in the visitor parking spot. So our session is interrupted when he gets booted by our towing company, because in my apartment, if you don't park in a visitor parking spot, you get towed, because where I live, we all have designated parking spots. That's just kind of a thing around here. And so everyone else at the table knew to park at a visitor parking spot, and I know I told this guy, hey, you have to park at a visitor parking spot. It has to say visitor parking on the spot. Like, you have to park there or you will get towed. Well, he didn't park there and he got towed. And so I remember arguing with the tow truck company, with the police officers that showed up, because they called the police. Well, the tow truck driver called the police because we were arguing that where he parked was like a... So the funny thing was the place where he parked, technically it's not a resident parking spot, but it's just not a visitor parking spot also. Like, it's just around here, it's one of those, like, it's not a parking spot, but it's definitely a parking spots. Because it was off to the side, it was big enough for a car to be in, it didn't obstruct anyone from backing out. It was this weird spot. And so the tow truck company came and tried to tow him. We caught them in the act. Yeah, purgatory parking spot, pretty much, Wahadu. But so it was just this weird situation. I personally was fighting the tow truck attendant because I'm like, look, normally I'm on your side, but like this is dumb. Like, this is actually dumb. And so we argued to the point where they called the police. The police were like, we can't really do anything, which it was weird that they called them. I was totally ready and willing to just wait him out and be like, look, you can either take the boot off or we can just sit here all night, you know? Because I was ready to fight this guy for however long I needed to fight him, just to make it so that my friend's friend, not even my friend, but my friend's friend didn't get a ticket. Because again, it was just, I am all for, you know, parking enforcement, because if you paying for a parking spot where I live is part of the rent, like that is part of the cost of living where I live. I don't like that it's a part of the cost of living where I live, but it's part of the cost. And so if I am paying for that cost, yeah, I like it that the parking gets enforced. However, it was this one spot that is technically not under, like, no one is hurting each other by parking there. I've seen the HOA park there multiple times. So it's actually kind of funny. The end result of this story is after, because so my buddy's buddy just didn't want to deal with it. He just paid the ticket. They took the boot off and he went home and he never came back to play RPGs again, which was kind of sad. But you know, he paid the ticket, but I was not happy. I was a very unhappy cat. So I called the HOA and I chewed their ear out for like an hour, being like, look, you should refund this guy. It isn't his fault. They didn't do that, of course, because, you know, it's an HOA. They're not going to do that. But what's funny is a month later, I noticed that there was now a visitor parking spot suspiciously added where this nebulous parking spot had been. And so I'm like, oh, so you're adding it after the fact. Thanks, HOA. I would have fought him tooth and nail just to get him to refund that guy. But, because I'm like, come on, you guys basically admitted it. You just didn't mark it as one. Come on. Freaking HOAs, man. Me and HOAs, we don't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. I don't like HOAs. I don't think anyone really likes HOAs. Actually, that's not true. There's a lot of good reasons to have an HOA. There's just, you know, there's not, most HOAs don't actually fulfill those good reasons, you know? It is what it is. It is what it is. Should anyone could regale the tale of Old Man Henderson who won Call of Cthulhu? Yeah, the creator of the Henderson scale. Oh, that's always a good story. Oh, thank God I don't live in a place with an HOA, or else I'd be stuck in court mandated anger management. Well, see, the funny thing is like, there are such things as good HOAs. There really are. They're not all terrible. But like, so like, now that the HOA is kind of settled down where I live, and they haven't been as annoying recently, like they do take care of some stuff, which would be annoying to deal with if I was the one dealing with them. Like, oh, for some forsaken reason in my city, they changed how our mailboxes have to be for apartment complexes. So for a good solid 7 months this year, I have not been able to receive mail to my mailbox. I had to go down to the post office to get it. And the people who got it all fixed, that was the HOA. So kudos to them, because they, like, the mailboxes, that's not something that they can actually do, but they were hounding the post office all the time to get it done. So, you know, kudos to them for doing that. And like, they also organize trash pickup. They make sure all the bushes and stuff. They also stay on top of people, making sure they clean up after their dogs. Big fan of that one. They help people when they helped get some packages back when some people complained that they were getting stolen. They installed some new security cameras. We got a guy arrested because of that, because, you know, they were stealing stuff. So, like, there are some good aspects of the HOA. It's just 9 times out of 10, they're just money sponges that don't do anything, and it frustrates me. But that's just me. That's just me. Oh, gosh. Let's see. Oh, here's another fun horror story. Oh, okay. Back to the RPG horror stories. So, I have a real big aversion, or at least I used to. I really hate it when DMs just take control of your character and they make you do stuff that you wouldn't do normally. And they're just like, oh, haha, they hand wave it because it's funny or it fits the situation. That crap annoys the ever-living hell out of me. Right? Like, I hate mind domination bullcrap. That, I don't think most people find that fun. And specifically, I'm talking about, like, the GM narrating what your character does. That is infuriating to me. I don't mind, like, oh, I got dominated by, like, let's say, I think succubus is the most common one that can cast domination at will, right? I really don't care if my character gets dominated and then they're like, oh, you need to fight your friends. It's like, okay, I will play my character fighting my friends. You know, that's fine, because I still get to play my character. But if they're just like, okay, well, she dominates you, so therefore you do this thing. It's like, but couldn't I at least say that I do that? I don't know. It's really frustrating. I do think that is a major problem with GMs, and I know I've had to have been guilty of it at least once, where GMs just change something about your character because it fits their story better, but it really pisses you off. That is my biggest pet peeve with any storytelling system, game, whatever, is the GM should not alter your character without talking to you first about it, at the very least. At the very, very least, right? It just is infuriating to deal with. That's my opinion. Ugh, gosh. Annoys me. Let's see. What are some other fun horror stories? Oh, there. Speaking of weird sexual stuff, because, you know, that's in there. I was once in a campaign for a single. I didn't even finish the session. I just kind of backed out because I'm like, okay, this is not what I thought it was. Where a GM and his girlfriend like to role play in the erotic variety of what their characters were doing, and I was like, no, I'm good. I don't really care if you do that. Like, if that's the type of game that you want to be in, great, more power to you. Like, but at least tell the like new would-be attendees what you're doing, right? I don't know. It's like I don't really care if people are into that. It's fine. You know, I've been in campaigns that have very mature themes, but I knew that that's what was happening before I got into them. I think that people get flashbanged way too often with that stuff, which is why I'm very grateful to the DMs who do take it out of like take time out of their day to be like, okay, so here's our kind of boundaries, here's kind of what's going on. And like I pushed boundaries before accidentally, I'm not gonna lie, where I thought like, oh, this is fine, and then I thought later, no, that was totally not fine. And so I've apologized, you know, for stuff like that. But and usually they're just like bad jokes or whatever. But you know, it is a line that I do feel like gets crossed a little too often. And it's usually the newer people who get flashbanged by it. Because if you've been in a group for a long time, normally people don't just drop stuff on you, right? They don't, or even if they do, they're tasteful about it. Because like, I think there's absolutely a way to include more mature themes without being graphic or explicit. Right? It's the difference of like, let's say you're walking into a certain type of party and the GM narrates that there's all sorts of debauchery going on, but the person you're there to meet greets you warmly, right? Like, so that still sets the scene of like, there's weird shit going on in the background, but it's not like it's not the focus of the scene versus someone who decides to graphically explain everything that's going on at this party, right? There's a difference between the two, even if the end result is similar. It's just, it's a different level, right? And I think that that's something that a lot of people struggle with when they're playing with first-time players. And when I say first time, I don't mean first time role players. I mean like first time to your group players, right? So that's just another thing to be wary of. I've been caught in those situations a couple times. What's another fun one? Oh, I remember another group. This one was just weird, but so the GM would let you be basically any type of creature you wanted. Like you could be dragons, you could be driders, you could be lizards, you could be a talking cat if you wanted. Like there was not really a limit to what you could be. But the punishment of you pissing off the GM was they made you a human with no abilities. But you weren't allowed to reroll. You could only reroll if you died. It was it was weird. Because it's like, oh, you're this high-powered thing, and then all of a sudden, nope. No. You made the GM angry, therefore you are a normal human. It was weird. I didn't come back to that group either. A lot of the, you know, the funny thing about a lot of horror stories, especially from those that I've seen from other people, is it's like over multiple sessions people are finding this stuff out. And for me, I'm just like, why didn't you leave after the first one, right? Maybe I'm just confident in my ability to find new games, or maybe I just value my own time a little too much, or I don't know, something like that. But a lot of these stories, I hear about them and my first reaction is, okay, but why didn't you just leave the group? Especially with some of like the really cringy stuff that's not like, or just straight up dangerous or unhealthy behaviors at tables. my first reaction is always just like, well, why? You could have left. Like, leaving is the good choice. Now, I will say some of the horror stories that I've seen where like someone else is your ride to something, and that turns out to be really weird. That is legitimate horror, and I feel so bad for anyone who gets stuck in that kind of a situation, because just I'm thinking back to some of the weirdest stuff that I've been a part in, and not being able to leave would be terrifying, and I would not be happy, right? Especially if it's like a new group. I would always say secure, your own transportation to any sort of new function, because man, sometimes stuff is just weird and there's nothing you can really do about it other than just leave. I do actually think that more players should be more willing to leave tables that are just really outside of their comfort zone. I don't think that you should leave just the first sign of trouble, because I'm also a big proponent that I feel like you can work a lot of things out with your GM. I'm a big fan of communication, big fan of, talking stuff out, making sure that you're all, it's gonna work together with everyone. If there's a problem, don't just leave, talk about it. But if you've tried to solve stuff yourself and it's still weird, guys, you can just leave, and you should just leave, because you should respect yourself. If the game is a lot different than what you were expecting, and you've tried to talk about where it might be going and stuff like that, you owe it to yourself to just leave the table and remove yourself from an uncomfortable situation. There will be other games, and honestly, playing in a bad game, you know what? Actually, I remembered. I want to rant about this. You guys better be ready for a rant. Oh my gosh, I was ready for this. There is a saying that bad D&D is better than no D&D. That is a bunch of bullcrap. I cannot believe that anyone actually subscribes to that philosophy. Now, chat, back me up if you're wrong here, but the saying that bad D&D is better than no D&D is so false. Because if you're having a really bad time, like an actually bad time with a D&D group, why are you still there? Like, I understand if it's your means of socializing and stuff, but there's gotta be other options. There has to be. Making yourself miserable by attending groups that are just not good for you, that can't be healthy, right? Some people just like being miserable. I mean, I guess Zero. I guess it's just, hold on. I think my model just broke for a second. 1 second. But like there's gotta be other places, man. Whether it's like searching for games online, trying stuff that way. You just gotta do it. Hey, what's up, honey? How you doing? Oh, did my chat break again? My chat did break. Gosh dang it. I'm trying out a new thing and it doesn't even pick it up. So chat. Actually, honey, congratulations. You're a moderator now. So I can see you better. Ta-da! Say hello to your new overlord, chat. But honey is the one that is putting on the murder mystery event on Friday. And it's going to be awesome. And I'm a part of it. I'm playing Eugenio Beardsley. I already announced this on Twitter, but I'm saying it again because she's here right now. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. It's going to be wacky. I hope that I am the murderer. So I can kill all of my friends. best part is I get to be a pill addict or a prescription drug using professor. You don't want to be a dead body? No, no, no. I want to be the one creating the dead bodies, honey. Look, look. It's just, is it too much to ask for me stabbing people in the back? Look, sometimes, look, can I just be the murderer's accomplice? It'll be fine. I'll just go on another bender and wake up and find out that you know, it's just fine. But I'm actually pretty excited for the event. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool people in it. But it's pretty much like a whodunit. And it's going to be fun. And it's going to be a big production. Honey's put a lot of work into it. And yeah, it's going to be really cool. The rayless is a shvi. What does that even mean? Wait, what does that even mean? Oh gosh. Oh yeah, okay. Anyways, going back to my tangent. And yes, you gotta love the oh actually, hold on, I can make it 360. There you go. We could have pixel library. We could do that instead. Oh, spy. Okay, okay, there we go. Yeah. No, it should be a lot of fun. I'm excited. Part of my stuff I'm doing tomorrow is making sure I've got my character and assets all ready for it. So that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, going back to the topic at hand. I've never understood why people think that bad D&D is better than no D&D. And like maybe it's just that, you know, you really want to experience the game. Maybe it's because of the friends that you want to hang out with. Like I guess that there's a lot of reasons why you might want to. It's just I don't want to be miserable. So why would you engage in something that's actively making your life hell? And you know, the funny thing about all the people who talk about it after the fact, who are like, oh, we finally got out of that terrible game. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm so much happier. It's like, well, no, duh. You're not doing the thing that's making you upset anymore. Like, you deserve it. You owe it to yourself to make yourself happy, right? I don't know. It's just something I've seen a lot, and I wanted to rant about it because it just doesn't make sense to me. And maybe I'm just weird like that, and that's okay. That's fine. I'll just be weird. Stockholm Syndrome. But like, okay, I would accept Stockholm Syndrome as an answer, but I'm talking about people who like from day one know that this is bad. Like, from day one, the writing's on the wall. This game is going to be super weird. It's going to make you super uncomfortable. You are not going to have a fun time. Why are you still here? It just, those are the people I don't get. I don't know, maybe it's desperation. It just sucks because I feel like if you let yourself get wrapped up in a bad game, like a legitimately bad game, bad group, bad DM, bad players, whatever might be the bad part of the equation, it's going to turn you off to joining other groups or trying out other games because your experience was just that bad. I feel like if you have a quick rebound from a bad group, you're more willing to give it another shot because you recognize that it was you know, it was just a bad one. It was a one-off. It was bad. That's whatever. It's fine. But if you stick with it, the thing that will finally make you quit just makes you never want to come back. And that's what I'm ultimately afraid of, is I want you to come back. I want you to enjoy this pastime that I love, that I care about. So just, just be willing to leave the bad ones earlier. Save yourself a little bit of trouble, a little bit of heartache, I don't know. That's just me. But what you gonna do, right? What you gonna do when they come for you? I want to talk about some other plans. So Ray Leach, by the way, guys, talked with the artist again. She should still be good for our 4th VTubing anniversary to be her debut. That'll be fun. I'm hoping to maybe also be able to squeak out a music album for that as well. I don't know if that'll happen, but a new album will be coming out before the end of the year. I hope to get at least 3 more out before the end of this year. This year was a little light on music, not gonna lie. Just a little bit light, a little bit lighter than I would have liked, at least. But we'll finally have Ray Leach. We're gonna have some fun debut stuff. We're gonna have some new merch shenanigans and stuff like that. So that should be a lot of fun. Yeah. I'm also really excited to be part of Honey's group. I know that she's put a lot of work into it, as have her mods and other people. I think it's going to be really, really cool. I hope you all join me for that. Yeah. I'm probably going to call stream. Saturday. What date is the anniversary? We're going to do it on October. Let me just check that date real quick for you. It'll be October 3rd is the anniversary. So look forward to that. I'm going to be announcing some stuff soon-ish that's related to RPG projects. Speaking of which, on Saturday, guys, we are going to be talking about my favorite game system of all time. Outside of Anima, because Anima is the actual favorite of all time. But Pathfinder 2nd edition is my other favorite of all time. It's the one that I have written stuff for. It's the one that I'm going to be writing stuff for. It is the one that you might see live plays of. I'm really excited to talk about it. I freaking love this system. And Saturday we're going to be talking a lot about it. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And yeah. Other than that, I'm going to call the stream just a little bit early. I am really tired from doing a lot of stuff today. So I'm going to be responsible and just kind of chill and work on some stuff for tomorrow and Friday and Saturday. And then I get a little bit of a breather with members on Sunday. And then we'll be back to the grindstone as normal on Tuesday next week. Just kind of a little bit of a catch up. Again, sorry it's a little bit shorter, but I hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. And gotta catch up on the TTRPG arc. Well, there's been a lot, Drill. There's been a lot, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Though I will say we might be slowing down on streams a little bit because there's been a lot more video ideas that I want to do, and streaming and all the clips and stuff have been taking up a little bit more time than I would like to get them done. But I'm just gonna start doing them. So you're gonna see some more D&D related content on here probably pretty soon. So look forward to that. But for now, I'm gonna send you guys off to. Is he still streaming? There's no way he's still streaming, is he? No, he's not. Okay, I almost redirected you into a dead stream. Hold that thought. All right, I'm gonna send you guys over to Remy, the Dream Fox. who is a buddy of mine. He's playing. Oh wait, can I not? Can I not raid him? Oh, Remy. Wait, hold on. But he's playing a game that I like. I want to... Remy? Remy, you won't let me raid you, you little jerk? Okay, I gotta bug him after this. Okay, well, we can't raid him either. Oh my gosh. What is this? What is this garbage? Wait, can I not raid any of my friends? Why do none of my friends have raid permissions on? Oh my gosh. Can't even raid any of my friends. What is this? I'll raid Yuki and Yuna. They just started their stream. I know I can raid them. Haha. All right, you guys all have fun over there. I will see you all on Saturday, well, Friday, and then I will see you on Saturday, and then I will see members on Sunday. We'll see you guys a lot, but I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.